All right, I think we're live now. I had some technical difficulties there. Can everybody hear me? Let me know in the chat if you can hear me all right. How's everybody doing today? I'm going to let some people stroll in here while the broadcast is picking up. Trying to monitor things here. Hello, everybody. Just give me a few minutes. I'm going to let some people stroll in here before we get started. Hope everyone's having a good day. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to get my whole setup going here. Trying to share it with the world. Somebody give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay. All right. Anybody? Thumbs up? There we go. Thank you, Lucas, for the thumbs up. All right, so let's get started. This is the first episode of CGN Live. This is going to be a new feature over at Cheap Graphic Novels. My name's Taylor of Taylor Talks Comics. If you've seen me around the internet, I'll be the host of this show. And we're going to try to do this weekly. And the whole point of the show is going to be to show off the comics and graphic novels coming out the following week. So this upcoming week, we will have those posted over at Cheap Graphic Novels. Hopefully Monday night. Our goal is always Monday night. The only reason why it wouldn't be Monday night is if we have some sort of delay in shipping, like we unfortunately had this past week. But yeah, so I want to give you a head start so you guys can start planning ahead of what things are coming out next week. And yeah, if you're somehow came across this not being familiar with Cheap Graphic Novels, Cheap Graphic Novels is an online website where you can buy comic books, graphic novels, trade paperbacks, omnibuses, hardcovers, absolutes, all the good stuff in the world of comics. And I am, like I said, Taylor. I'm running the social media over at Cheap Graphic Novels. I have been since January, so I hope that you guys have been enjoying things over there. I will be able to answer most of your CGN-related questions. Max from CGN, the guy that runs the show over there, is only a text message or phone call away if I have any sort of pressing questions that I can't answer myself. I will say that, yes, Brian, they are cheap. It's in the name. I will say that I won't be able to answer any like personal order questions. So if you have like a question about your personal order, I would direct you to the email that's on the website for cheapgraphicnovels.com. For that, I am, full disclosure, in the Midwest. So I'm far away from the warehouse of Cheap Graphic Novels, which is in California. So I won't be able to answer any like logistical questions about your order per se, but you could always go on the email and figure that out with Max. He answers all those emails himself. So one thing I do want this to be an interactive show. I think the format of how the show goes will evolve and change as time progresses, and I do this every week. The main component is going to be showing you off what books come out next week, but I want to do a few other segments, like I want to do a Treat Your Shelf segment where I show you off some older titles that you can buy that are still in stock with CGN. And then I want to talk. I want it to be interactive as well. Low hit. I am drinking coffee, as always. This is my second cup today. Coffee and comics go hand in hand. But I want it to be interactive. So I want to let's talk about going pop in the chat. Tell us what you've been reading lately, what comic books you've been reading, and I'll let those comments trickle in, and we'll go over that in a little bit. But first, let's go over the books that will be coming out next week. I am going to try to share my screen here, and we'll see if this works. This is all kind of like learning on the go, too. This is my first live show that I've done, so bear with me for a moment here. Going to dang it, it's not working for some reason. Boom, 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 boom. And represent. There we go. All right, let me see. Make sure that comes up on the screen. Try to look at my second screen here. Okay, I gotta change that. Let's do this layout. There we go. All right, let me know if you guys can see that all right. Can you see the screen okay? So I'm trying to let the chat trickle in here. I just want to make sure you guys can see what I'm showing off on my screen, if it looks good. All right, screen looks good. Thanks, Benjamin. All right, so these are the books that will be coming out next week. Like I said, these will be posted on the website Monday night, which will be February the 13th, the day before Valentine's Day. And like I said, we always try to post them on Monday night. If for some reason there's a shipping delay, then we'll let you know on the social media when they'll be posted, but they will be there for order. So up first, we have the long-awaited reprint. This is Planet Hulk Omnibus. We have two covers here. I'm going to show them off. It's not going to let me switch tabs here. Okay. Part of the learning curve here. I'm trying to look at my second screen here. Okay. So this is the first cover. This is the direct market variant, exclusive direct market variant. Which, if you're not familiar, direct market variant just means that these covers are only available for comic book shops. You won't be able to find this on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or anything. So Cheap Graphic Novels is one of the few places you'll be able to find this exclusive variant. This is from Ladrone. This is the Arena cover variant. This book is priced at $100 cover price, but at Cheap Graphic Novels, you can get it for 40% off for only $59.99. And I know, as I realize this, it's saying out of stock right here. That's just because they're not posted yet. Once these are posted and you get the call on social media that they're posted, you will be able to order these just fine. So no worries there. And then I'm going to go and scroll down because there's a second cover here. This is the standard edition cover. This will be available everywhere, but at Cheap Graphic Novels, you can get it for $59.99. This is also from Ladrone. He did a lot of the covers for this run. So if you're not familiar with the Planet Hulk run, this is the run that was largely inspired the Hulk arc of Thor Ragnarok, if you're familiar with the movie Thor Ragnarok. But this is also probably the most popular modern run of Hulk, I would say. Post 2000 run of Hulk, up until Immortal Hulk that just finished up the run last year. But the basic story here is like the brain trust of Marvel 616, like Tony Stark, Reed Richards, realized that Hulk was too dangerous for his own good. He was too uncontrollable. They couldn't keep him honed in like they used to, so they put him in a rocket ship and ship him off to another planet where he can be isolated and live out his days in happiness, I guess they think it is. So, but the rocket ship changes course and goes to another planet, and chaos ensues, where you get to see Gladiator Hulk that you saw depicted in Thor Ragnarok, and you can see on the cover there. It's been long away to reprint, though. This was on Omar from Near Conditions most wanted omnibus reprint poll last year. Every year he does a vote, which I recommend everybody go to if you're into the Marvel omnibuses. Near Condition. He does it in March, and he's preparing it right now. Again, full disclosure, I do the social media for Omar as well, so there's kind of a tie there. But in March he's doing it, so you get like 5 votes for your most wanted reprints of the old omnibuses that are long out of print from Marvel, and he accumulates the list, all the votes, and puts together the top 20 most wanted from that list, sends it off to David Gabriel over at Marvel, and he has largely looked at this list to decide which ones to reprint every year. Every year we're getting like 85-90% of that top 20 list reprinted, and like I said, this was on the list, so just proof in the pudding there. And another Marvel omnibus coming out next week is Captain America by Nick Spencer. We have 2 cover options here. This first one is the direct market variant, and it's provided by Alex Ross. This is a run that predates the Ta-Nehisi Coates run. So the Ta-Nehisi Coates Captain America run is getting an omnibus coming out shortly, and this one predates that. There'll be 2 volumes total to finish off this run, and the second volume, I believe, was announced by Omar over at Near Condition. He gets all the news for which omnibuses are coming out, and I believe he announced the second volume. Someone correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but I believe he did. So this one, like I said, the direct market variant has an Alex Ross cover, and this one is priced at $100 retail, but you can get it at Cheap Graphic Novels for only $59.99. And it also has a second cover. The standard edition cover is provided by Jesus Saez, which, let me pull that up here. Is that cover right there. And he, I believe, provided some of the covers on the interior as well. So there's Captain America by Nick Spencer. This is the run that had, I think, Secret Empire was the big event that happened within that run, which I don't think... Again, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Secret Empire would be in the volume 2. So this will be like the build up to it. Also, it looks like it has some stuff from Civil War 2 in there as well. So those are the 2 Marvel omnibuses coming out next week. We also have a Marvel Masterworks. This is volume 16 of Invincible Iron Man. The Marvel Masterworks line, if you're not familiar, is like their primo, top of the line, top shelf reprints of their older material. This is volume 16 of Iron Man, like I said. This is also the 337th printing of a Marvel Masterworks. They do these. They have 2 covers here, and one of them is where they number like each volume of the Masterwork. So if you're trying to collect every single Masterwork that's ever existed from Marvel, this is number 337. This is priced at $75 retail, but at Cheap Graphic Novels, you can get it for 40% off at only $44.99. This is the Denny O'Neil era of Iron Man. And then there's this cover, which I believe on the spines of these collect them if you're just collecting like Iron Man from the Masterworks. This is volume 16, and we'll indicate that on the spine. I think that's how the spines go. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I don't have Masterworks. I collect Epic Collections and on omnibuses predominantly for Marvel. But I believe that's how those covers work. Let's check in the chat here. Yeah, feel free to ask questions in the chat too. I will have a segment on the show today where I go over your questions or your comments. And again, let me know what you've been reading, what comics have been coming out that you've been enjoying. We have the Phantom Complete Dailies, volume 26. This is priced at $44.99, which is $15 off over at Cheap Graphic Novels. These are the newspaper strips of Phantom, which I've never read the newspaper strips, but I do like newspaper strip comic books. So if these are any good, someone let me know. Then we have Supercade, a visual aid of the video game age. This is a soft cover. This is priced at $33.75, which is $11.25 off. This is published by Dynamite. And I believe this, okay, so this is a sequel. There was a Supercade visual history of the video game age from 71 to 84. So that was like leading up until first NES, I believe. Then this is 85 to 2001. So that's like NES all the way through PlayStation, Dreamcast, the start of the Xbox. But this is a visual history. So this looks like a coffee table book. I do enjoy those. Someone let me know if this is a good one. This is Exile. So this is published by Living the Line. This particular comic is from Eric Kriek. I hope I pronounced that right. But Living the Line is a newer publisher. They have a YouTube channel as well. I know Carson Grubaugh, I believe his name is, who was one of the artists on The Strange Deaths of Alex Raymond. That was like the first book that Living the Line published. And then they've also have like Abolition Man coming out now. And they've done a couple other books. So they're kind of like a small imprint at this point, kind of doing it in-house. And Carson's, his co-host, which his name is escaping me, is the one that ships all these out. But this looks to be a Viking comic book. If you look on Living the Line's social media, he has some of these, some of the interiors and stuff of this posted. So it looks pretty cool. And it's a newer publisher, so I always want to support those. But yeah, you can get that for $29.99 next week, which is $10.01 off. We have a couple Epic collections. So these are awesome. I frequently collect Epic collections. I have over 100 over here to my left. And they are, if you're not familiar, they're released out of order. The volumes are. However, once the entire line is collected, it'll be the most complete mapping of Marvel's characters. So for instance, like Doctor Strange here, Doctor Strange Epic Collection Nightmare on Bleecker Street will be volume, oh man, does it tell me? If it doesn't tell me, I'm gonna look it up myself, because no, it's not telling me. Just give me 1 second here, because I have my own personal spreadsheet with these things on it, because I know I'm going to buy this one for sure from CGN. So the way I collect Epic collections is I collect certain lines. I'm not collecting every single Epic collection. I think we're closing in on 300 total volumes. I don't have the shelf space for that, which is crazy to say when I'm telling you I have over 100 of them, but I don't. So, and Doctor Strange is one of the ones I'm collecting. And this is volume 11. Okay. So this is volume 11 of the Epic collections. In Nightmare on Bleecker Street, I believe this is getting into like the late 80s, early 90s run. I have, bear with me for a second. Trying to see here. Okay, so this is perfect. So real quickly, I'm going to stop sharing for a second and show these off. Okay. So far, this is volume 11. Like I said, it's coming out next week. It's called Nightmare on Bleecker Street. I'll pull that back up here in a second. But previously released, we have the Vampiric Verses. And if anybody wants to know if we have these in stock at CGN, I can look for that as well. Just put that in the chat. And these are cool. The cool thing is that the Epic collections, you can collect just one. Let me get back to StreamYard here. You can collect just one volume if you want. Like if there's a certain story like Maximum Carnage or something, like you can get like just that Spider-Man volume, and it doesn't have any volume numbers on the spine. So on your bookshelf, it's not going to look weird. Like, oh, why do you have a random volume 9 on your shelf? Because they keep the volume number in the back, so you can still keep in track and easily put them in order. So this is volume 9 was Vampiric Verses, and then volume 10 is Infinity War. which includes that story. Doesn't include the entire story. I'm sorry. Includes the Doctor Strange parts of that story. That's volume 10. So then Nightmare on Bleecker Street will be volume 11. That comes out next week. But they have gone past that because I have volume 13 here, which is Afterlife. So then, like I said, they release them out of order. So eventually we'll get a volume 12, and then we'll have the entire, like all these, this part of Doctor Strange collected in order. And I think the reason why they release them out of order too is to ensure that the entire run gets collected. So like, if you think if they just go chronologically, then and somebody wants to only collect like Doctor Strange 90s era, for instance, it's going to take a long time for them to get to that point. Like, so if someone just wants the 90s era, they kind of go out of order a little bit, so you can start collecting certain spots that you want, and then whenever you get to fill that gap, like I said, there's going to be a gap of from this is volume 11, so we'll have 9, 10, 11, and then 13. Whenever that 12 comes out, it's always a nice little addition to the shelf whenever you're going to put that in. So that's Doctor Strange. Let me share my screen again here. Look at that. I'm learning how to do this. All right. So that's Nightmare on Bleecker Street. That comes out next week. It is cover price at $44.99. But you can get a CGN for only $26.99. And these are typically like 400 to 500 page trade paperbacks. So they're pretty thick. So you definitely get your money's worth. The next one coming out is Daredevil, Man Without Fear. This is a reprint. And Omar always says this, so I'm going to repeat it. But Omar says when Epic Collections are reprinted, they're reprinted in smaller print runs. So there won't be as many available. They don't do the same number of print run for the reprints as they do for like a new printing or a brand new book, brand new volume. So this is a reprint. So the advice there is, if this is something you really want, don't hesitate too long on it. But this is the first volume of Daredevil Epic Collection, and it includes issues number 1 through 21. Yeah, just issues 1 through 21. How easy is that? And this is a Silver Age material. And a lot of people will say that Daredevil really only starts with like Frank Miller. Oh, sorry. I was reading the chat there. The people will say that Daredevil really starts with Frank Miller, and everything before that's kind of like, I don't know, people will say hokey or cheesy or whatnot. I love Frank Miller's Daredevil. So I'm not saying that they're wrong there, but there's so many good stories before that with Daredevil that I think are worth reading. This volume in particular includes all the Wally Wood issues and artwork by Gene Colan, Bill Everett, and Joe Orlando, and John Romita Sr. So you don't want to miss out on that. They're like the Wally Wood issues for sure are great. So, and I don't know if you can see them behind me, but I have a lot of the EC Comics collections. I'm a big EC fan. Joe Orlando and Wally Wood are both EC artists, and it's an interesting part of history, Marvel history, with Wally Wood on Daredevil. He comes in, Stanley he's like one of the first artists to come in from the outside into Marvel, and Stanley kind of hypes him up like Wally Wood's coming. This is a big deal, because it was. And then they quickly kind of rub each other the wrong way. Wally Wood wants full writing credits and responsibilities on Daredevil. Stanley kind of obliges unwillingly, I guess. So Wally Wood gets a few issues on his own. One of those issues being the great issue number 7, I believe, where he fights Namor, the Submariner, and also that's the debut of Daredevil's red costume. So if you're looking at the cover there and you see his yellow and red costume, and you're like, that looks stupid, don't worry, it only lasts for 6 issues. And it makes appearances later in like Daredevil Yellow and those kinds of stories. But then Gene Colan and Bill Everett, the aforementioned Bill Everett, who created Namor himself, have artwork in here as well. So there's a lot of fun stories. If you're into Silver Age Marvel, like you enjoy Silver Age Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, I would recommend trying this out. I think it's a lot of fun. It has like that Stan Lee dialogue, which I love personally. I know that's not the most popular. People think this era of comics are kind of wordy and whatnot. They call it cheesy. I think it's just charming. But Stanley's dialogue's in there, and great artwork in this particular volume. So that's my little pitch for why people should read Daredevil prior to Bollywood, or probably Frank Miller. I'm sorry. This next one is Spa from Eric Svitoft. I hope I didn't butcher that too bad. This is from Fantagraphics, which is my favorite publisher in comics today. So you will see Fantagraphics make quite a lot of feature on the social medias and whatnot. This is a nightmarish debut, a biting critique of consumer society and the wellness industry. Recalls the films of David Lynch and Lars von Trier and the horror manga of Junji Ito. So if that sounds awesome to you, pick this up. I do have some interiors to show off for this. Fantagraphics on their website always shows off cool interiors of comics. So I want to show off this one in particular. Let me scroll down here. So they have like a little preview here. So that's the cover image there. And then here's some interiors. And this looks to be the first few pages. I looked through this. You don't get to see a lot of it. It cites Junji Ito, who's an amazing horror mangaka. You don't get to see a lot of frightening imagery, but you can see the style of art. It's kind of like the unsettling, quirky art that you would expect from those kind of horror mangas. So that is Spa from Eric Svitoft. And you can get that for $26.23 next week. It's 25% off. Up next, we have Astro City Metro Book, Volume 2, which I have Volume 3, I'm sorry. Let me get through here to show off these. So these are finally Astro City is getting reprinted. These are the great books by Kurt Busiek, Britt Anderson, with covers by Alex Ross. So these are volumes 1 and 2 that have already been released. There's volume 1 there. There's a cool looking spine there. And then here is volume 2. And this is, sorry, I'm trying to match the camera here. And there's the spine. Show them together. This is Kurt Busiek's kind of reconstructionist superhero story. There's the spines together, and you can imagine volume 3 will match that. Reconstructionist superhero story. So, like you think of in a post-Watchmen age, where post-Watchmen, post-Dark Knight Returns, where Alan Moore and Frank Miller deconstructed superheroes. This is like a reconstructionist that takes place afterwards. Kurt Busiek makes his own superhero world, complete world building. It includes different eras within that world too, so you kind of jump around in eras, and it's just amazing. Kurt Busiek is a huge comic book fan and historian, so it's kind of his love letter to everything he loves about superhero comics. And these are the Metro books, which is the first time they've been reprinted in a long time. They've been previously released by, I think, DC Comics at one point. It was originally published by Image back in the 90s in single issue format. But they've been long out of print. They did hardcovers, I think, with DC. I don't know. I can't. Someone correct me on that if I'm wrong on that. But they're back with Image, and they're doing these Metro books, which is these thick trade paperbacks. They have like, I think, 300, 400 pages per volume, and they have talked about doing oversized hardcovers eventually, which I'll probably upgrade to. But I've been wanting to read this for a long time. I've never read it before, prior to this coming out. So this is the way I'm collecting them at the moment. So let's get back to sharing our screen and go over the next book. So yeah, Metro Book Volume 3, Astro City, that's $24.49. You can save $10.50 off that cover price at CGN. Next, we have Adventure Zone Volume 5. They have it in hardcover and softcover. I'm going to scroll down there. The softcover is $15.99. Hardcover is $22.39 at CGN. I'm not familiar with Adventure Zone, but I feel like I will be soon. My son reads a lot of like all ages comics and comics for kids. And this looks like a series that's right up his alley, so I'm sure I will eventually read this. But let me know in the comments if you've read it and if you enjoyed it or if your kids enjoy it. This is Sandman Book 5 trade paperback. So these are the thick trade paperbacks they've been releasing for Sandman. They're like 400-page volumes, I believe. And this collects some of the after stuff. So the first 4 volumes collects the initial 75 issue run. I believe it's 75 issues. Low hit, I know you're in the chat. Let me know how many issues that first run was. From Neil Gaiman. This includes some of the stuff that takes place after that. So this has Sandman Theater number 1, Sandman Dream Hunters, and Sandman Endless Nights. So some of the mini series or spin-offs that take place elsewhere. And these are actually collected differently. It's really interesting how Sandman's been collected. It's been collected in absolute, omnibus, deluxe hardcovers, and now these thick trade paperbacks, as well as previous trade paperback editions. But the way that, like, I know Sandman Theater number 1, I believe, was like in the first deluxe edition. So it's interesting how they map them out differently based on which editions come out. So that's volume 5 coming out. We have a hardcover. It's Aquaman 80 Years of the King of Seas, deluxe edition. So these are, it says deluxe edition, so I believe these are oversized. And DC's been doing a lot of these like 80-year anniversary hardcovers. They did it for Batman. They did it for, I think Batman and Catwoman had one. Superman, Superboy had one. This is Aquaman's. And these are kind of like a best of greatest hits type story. They collect like usually the debut issues. It has over 400 pages of classic and modern tales. So it has, you'll see anything from like Aquaman's debut. I'm sure you'll see some stuff from Peter David's run. Is he listed? Yeah, he's in the credits. And then Jeff Johns' run will have some issues in there too. So it's like a big sampling. Like you think like when you have the greatest hits album of your favorite band, it's kind of like that. So 80 years of Aquaman, if you're an Aquaman fan. And that is cover priced only at $29.99, but at CGN you can get it for $17.99 next week. We have the X-Men Hellfire Gala Immortal trade paperback. This is the post-Hickman era Hellfire Gala, but it's the second annual Hellfire Gala. For all you guys have been keeping up on the X-Men, the modern X-Men run, you'll need to pick this up. It looks like they're doing a Hellfire Gala every year, so this is that one. And this is the first way this is being released. They haven't done a hardcover yet. Up next, we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Armageddon Game Opening Moves trade paperback. This is the big event that happened in the modern IDW TMNT run, and this collects the entire run. Entire event. It looks like this will be $13.99. You save $6, 30% off. Parasite Color Collection Volume 2 hardcover. This is a sci-fi horror manga. I guess it says classic, so this is an older manga. I haven't read it. Let me know in the comments if you have. Like I said previously, I'm a big Junji Ito fan. So if this is up the alley of someone that likes Junji Ito, let me know. But these are all the all-color collection. So if you have an aversion to black and white comics, here's a color edition of Parasite for you. That is only $13.99. It's a hardcover. Up next, we have Fearscape Volume 2, A Dark Interlude. Who's the publisher on this one? Vault Comics. Written by Piotr Kowalski and Andrea Muti, artist Ryan O'Sullivan. Forgive me for butchering names. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong there. That's Fearscape Volume 2. We have Alice Ever After. So this is Boom Studios. Writers Dan Panosian, but not the artist. Dan Panosian is not doing the art. It looks like it's Giorgio Spalletta. But like I said, this is Boom Studios. $12.74 next week. $4.25 off. Alice first visited Wonderland as a child. Now as an adult, it's her only escape from her cold, strange reality. So this collects Alice Ever After issues 1 through 5. Ooh, then we have Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man by Zeb Wells and John Romita Jr., Volume 3, Hobgoblin. So this is the current modern run of Spider-Man. Current and modern, I guess that's kind of redundant. It is the current run, the run that's happening right now by JR and Zeb Wells. This is Volume 3. Get that for $11.99. You get Iron Man Volume 4, Source Control. This is also the current run. And this is Volume 4. I believe this is, Christopher Cantwell wrote this run. This is $11.99 as well. Omar from New American Condition is a big fan of this run, this particular Christopher Cantwell run. So if you like the same things as Omar, if you're into the same comics he is, or you value his opinion, then maybe you'll like this too, but this is Volume 4. Wonder Woman, Volume 3, The Villainy of Our Fears. Who's the creative team on this one? I believe this is the current one. This is by Becky Cloonan and Michael Conrad. Art by Emanuela Lupacchino and Marguerite Savage. I'm not reading this. Someone in the comments let me know if you are and if this is a good run or not, if it's worth reading. This collects Wonder Woman 787 through 794, so they are getting closer to that 800th issue of Wonder Woman. Everybody let me know if that one's good. This is Batman Beyond Neo Year. So this is the current ongoing Batman Beyond run. So they've kind of, over the years, obviously Batman Beyond debuted on his own animated series, but they've taken him into the comics, which is a great idea because he's a great character. And over the years, they brought him here and back of the different runs and whatnot. This is the current run of Batman Beyond. This is by Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly. Max Dunbar is the artist there. Oh, here we go. And then we have Captain America Sentinel of Liberty, Volume 1, Revolution trade paperback. This is the current run by Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing, and then Mattia de Luis and Carmen Canero. That's Volume 1. So if you're wanting to read the most current Captain America run, you can jumpstart there at $11.99 for that one. Marvel Knights Make the World Go Away. This is a modern run, just came out in comic shops over the last year or so, and it was a celebration and love letter, I guess, to the old Marvel Knights imprint. Where in the early 2000s, Jimmy Palmiotti and Joe Quesada had like their own Marvel Knights imprint, which then eventually kind of folded into Marvel Max. They were like for a teenage and up audience, where it wasn't as graphic and gory and R-rated as Marvel Max would get. It's kind of like the in-between, maybe the PG-13 of Marvel. It was a really cool imprint. They had great runs, like Garth Ennis's Punisher started there. They had a Kevin Smith, his run on Daredevil with Joe Quesada started there. I know Captain America and Fantastic Four had runs there. So this is kind of a love letter and throwback to that era. It looks like it has Daredevil, Blade, Black Panther, and Punisher in it. Black Panther by Christopher Priest. His run was also on Marvel Knights imprint. This is Genius Fell, Captain Marvel trade paperback. This is by Peter David, but this is his return to the character. So the upcoming omnibus that comes out soon, it's like a 1,600 pager too. It's a big one. That will not include this, because that omnibus collects the initial 2 runs of Genius Fell from Peter David, and it's already 1,600 pages. So I think I think Omar asked Marvel to add this in there, and they were like, no, it's already big enough. But this was a 5-issue run, I believe. Peter David's been coming back and doing a lot of these revisiting of his old characters. Yeah, this is 5 issues. Like he did the Maestro run where he came back for that one. He did New Fantastic Four, which was not his run originally, but he was the one that revisited it. And he revisited Spider-Man 2099, I believe. So you're doing a lot of these kind of reunion tours, if you will. Spider-Man Edge of the Spider-Verse trade paperback. This is new stuff, I believe. Yeah, this is So if you're, okay. So there's a Spider-Verse omnibus coming out soon. This will not be included in that as well, because I think this is stuff that post-dates that omnibus. That is 1079. Graphic novels next week. We have Daredevil and Elektra by Chip Zdarsky, Volume 1, The Red Fist Saga. So it says Volume 1, but this is like, it's still a continuation of Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil run, which has been highly celebrated by a lot of people. I think it's just Volume 1 because it's kind of like a reset in the story. So I think after Devil's Reign, this takes place. So it's like Daredevil by Zdarsky led up to Devil's Reign. Devil's Reign happened. And then I think this is the what happens after that. So Zdarsky's Daredevil run has been getting a lot of praise. I want to read it, but I'm kind of waiting for an omnibus to come out to read it. We have Star Wars Bounty Hunters Volume 5, Raid of the Vermilion. I know Mandalorian is starting next month, the new season. So if you're into the Star Wars Bounty Hunters sect of that saga, then maybe you want to get in on this. Then we have Scurry. So Scurry, I have some interior pages to show off too. This was a comic that was sold through Kickstarter, and then on his own website on scurrycomic.com, which is what I'm on right now, Max Smith sold it there in nice hardcover editions, even at like a slipcase. So let me go back real fast so I can read you what this is about. So this is a middle grade webcomic, and Kickstarter smash hit from Max Smith. It arrives in a single print volume for the first time into a world where humanity is gone and only animals have survived. Wix, a brave scout from a colony of house mice, must embark on a perilous journey into parts unknown, where he'll face danger, threats, fantastic new creatures, and a destiny he never expected. So it's a anthropomorphic comic where animals talk and emulate humans and whatnot. Some sort of post-apocalyptic story where the animals are on their own trying to survive, and it stars mice. And this is the artwork I'm showing off here. It's just like beautiful, beautiful work by Max Smith. He does everything on it, I believe. I think he does all the writing, lettering, coloring, penciling, inking, everything. So and it started off as a webcomic where he just posted on his website, and then now it's being published through and distributed through Diamond for the first time, or major distributors. I apologize. It could be Penguin. I don't know, but it's in comic book shops for the first time. And this is a trade paperback that includes the entire story. I think it is standard size, but it's by Image now, Image and Skybound. So if you're familiar with Skybound comics from Robert Kirkman, they like to release things in multiple formats. So I wouldn't be surprised if this gets a hardcover of sorts later. But this includes the entire story in one. And then the last one, we have Plants vs. Zombies Faulty Fables hardcover. My son has read these. This hardcover is only $7.69. They're slimmer hardcovers. I'm gonna stop sharing now. But if they're into Plants vs. Zombies, the game on your phone or iPad or whatever, they'll enjoy it. My son enjoys those comics a lot. They're just goofy, fun zombie comics for kids. I mean, they are aimed at kids. So there's my recommendation for that one. But those are all the great comics coming out next week. Like I said, they'll be posted on Monday night. Stay tuned on social media. I always make a post right when they're live. So the first moment you can order them, if you didn't pre-order any of those, you'll be able to. And that is something I should add, though. You can pre-order comics and books and graphic novels through Cheap Graphic Novels. If you go on the website, there's a pre-order option. And Max usually keeps the pre-orders open through up until like the final order cutoff. And then the next time you can order them is when they go live, when they're on sale and in-house in the warehouse. But yeah, so you can pre-order books from Cheap Graphic Novels. You can order them the day of. But now, yeah, so I'm going to go about 10 more minutes. I know Omar from New York Edition has a show going live at 1 p.m. and I don't want to compete with the giant that is NMC, so I don't want to run too long here. But I do want to get to the chat, so let me know if there's anything you're interested in from what we talked about there, or if there's anything you want me to go over, any books you want me to talk about, or rehash or cover more in depth. And then let me know what you guys have been reading. So let me scroll through the chat here, see what you guys have been talking about. Dun, 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 dun. I said hello. Oh, so first one, what are you reading? Look at that. First comment I've ever shown on the channel. Low Hit. He said he is reading Copra, recommended by a certain someone. Me. Yes, Copra is great. I don't think I can reach the hardcover from where I'm sitting, but I love Copra by Michel Fife. The first hardcover came out last year, and it collects the first 12 issues. It's an awesome story for anyone that it's basically a love letter to John Ostrander's Suicide Squad run, but done by an independent artist, and he does everything, all the pencils, lettering, writing, everything, coloring. It's great. So Copra I highly recommend it as well. We have Real American Brian. He has his own YouTube channel. Be sure to check him out. Just search for Real American Brian. That's my brother, full disclosure. He's currently reading World of Black Hammer Volume 3, which I believe is the... Here, I have that right here. Okay, so Volume 3 is the one with Colonel Weird and Barbalian Red Planet. Black Hammer is an awesome superhero comic as well. I believe I put it in the Reconstructionist category. Oh, and Lohi here, who I said I recommended Copra to, he is saying he gives it his full recommendation as well. We have Benjamin Kimball here. Thanks for joining us, Benjamin. He's been reading Lee Ditko's Spider-Man for the first time, and he really likes it. Awesome. I love Lee Ditko's Spider-Man. I have the Taschen edition down here, actually. This massive book. Like, this is huge. Just by comparison, here's like your normal standard size hardcover, and then like it just keeps going. That's how big that Taschen book is. But this collects like the first 20 issues of Spider-Man, which includes AF-15 and I think the first annual. But Lee Ditko's Spider-Man is great. I love Silver Age Marvel. One thing you'll learn about me on this channel, I think Silver Age Marvel is like the greatest achievement in fiction, the history of fiction. That's my hyperbolic declaration on Silver Age Marvel. I think there's just so many ideas and characters that were created within that time that are fantastic. I think Spider-Man is amazing. Benjamin, if you've never read the Lee Kirby Fantastic Four run, I think those two runs are the best of that bunch. So of Silver Age Marvel, those are the two must-reads, I would say. So I would maybe go into that era too if you're interested in continuing your Silver Age Marvel journey. Then we have Sandwichism here. It says Ditko's Spidey is the best. All the Goblin issues are awesome. I agree. Then we have the Fonz here. Fonzie is saying Planet Hulk is sexy. All right. Lohit, so World War Hulk Omnibus is not being has not been announced for reprint yet. So, but if you want it to be reprinted, go on to the NMC Most Wanted Omnibus reprint poll and be sure to vote for that if that's something that you're looking forward to. But that is the follow-up to Planet Hulk. Also check out Cupcake's comic reviews to hang out more with Taylor. Yes, there's a Facebook group we have, Cupcake Comics Reviews. Lee Falk Phantom is great. I do want to read Phantom. That 90s movie from like 95, I believe, is a fun adventure movie. I think it's kind of underrated. It's kind of like a Indiana Jones in tights kind of movie. Like it's like a treasure hunting movie, but with a superhero. Exile looks interesting. Which volume of Strange is that? Oh, that's the Epic Collection. That was volume 11. Oh, thank you, Hess. He said my beard is beautiful. I didn't groom it today and put anything in it, but I appreciate that. They're scheduled for Valentine's Day because CGN loves comics. Yes, that's one thing I wanted to mention. Valentine's Day is next week on Tuesday. So if you have a loved one that loves comics, be sure to buy them for them. But there's also an option of getting a CGN gift certificate. So if you are trying to give ideas for your significant other about what to buy you for Valentine's Day, maybe offer that. Maybe say, hey, I want a gift certificate for CGN. That's an option. Or if you're trying to buy something for your comic book loving significant other as well, that's always a good option. Original DD is pretty good. I agree. Frank Miller Daredevil is coming up soon on my reread saga of my collection. That is an interesting point. So Daredevil has been collected in epics pretty vastly. Like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 volumes of Daredevil in epic collection. I don't have the first couple of volumes because I have the omnibus that collects those. I kind of go both ways. Like my preference is omnibus, especially for Silver Age. But if they don't have that, then I'll get the epics. So Daredevil, they have. I mean, they're in the double digits of volumes total for epics, but the one run they haven't collected yet is Frank Miller. They kind of dodged it on both sides of it. They're like collecting everything before and after. I guess they're saving the best for last. They did the same thing for Simonson's Thor. They have a ton of Thor epics. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 11 Thor epics plus a couple omnibuses. And they still haven't got to the Simonson run. Looks like they're saving that one for the last. And the same thing with Fantastic Four by Byrne. Like those 3 runs that were like iconic runs that were both from like the Jim Shooter era of Marvel have not been collected in epics. They're kind of saving them for last, which, is a good idea, I guess. Oh, and then Lohit asked me. So, no, Frank Miller's not in epics yet. Daredevil Yellow is great. I agree. That's by Tim Sale, Jeff Loeb. Tim Sale, Jeff Loeb did all those color Marvel stories. They did Captain America White, Daredevil Yellow, Spider-Man Blue, and Hulk Gray. Spider-Man Blue is getting a gallery edition, which are those oversized collections. Try to see if I have one handy. I don't. I think they're over there. But they're great collections too. They're oversized, like they're bigger than DC Absolutes, but they're a little bit more affordable. Like this week, actually, the Avengers Kree Skrull War gallery edition came out, and that's like the 9-issue run that from Roy Thomas doing Avengers and Neil Adams on artwork. Neil Adams, he doesn't do every issue, but he does like 7 or 8 issues, I believe, of that run. Someone correct me if I'm wrong on that one. But yeah, the Kree Skrull War gallery edition came out this week. But those are fun too. So the Spider-Man Blue one is coming out soon. And then Real American Brian's adding Alice Ever After on his wish list. I was going to ask you, because I know you're a big Alice in Wonderland fan. I was going to ask you if you've read that or not. Oh, here's Lohit's advice. Buy Batman Beyond, but skip Wonder Woman. I know he reads a lot of the current comics coming off the racks every week. He's one of the Wednesday Warriors that I speak to quite a bit, so he would know. All right, guys. Great stream, Taylor. Thank you, Lohit. And then Real American Brian says, I'm very interested in the Chip Daredevil run. I'm also waiting for an omnibus. Yeah, I was going to also ask you that. I know you're a Daredevil fan. I didn't know if you'd been keeping up on the current run. Psycho Cleveland. Hey, what's up, man? Where am I? This isn't the manga chat, is it? No, we've talked about manga, but this is not the manga chat you're referring to. I think that one's probably has a little bit more star power on the hosting gig. But I appreciate you being here. Plum Pocket comes out tomorrow. Psycho, I'm not familiar with that one, but I know that we've talked in the past with we both have an affinity for small press comics and smaller indie cartoonists and whatnot. So hit me up on Instagram. Let me know what that is, because I want to know. We both have a similar tastes in comics, so I definitely want to know about that. So guys, that was I'm going to wrap it up here. Like I said, we got the giant NMC going on live here in a few minutes, and I don't want to compete with him. But my name is Taylor. Taylor Talks Comics. This is the first episode of CGN Live. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you will join us every week. Be sure to share this video. Share that we're doing this over here with all your friends, all your comic book loving friends. Let them know we're doing cool things over here, because this is a brand new YouTube channel too. We have basically no subscribers. We need all the help we can get for getting the signal out there. Plum Pocket by Nate Garcia. Whoa, Nate Garcia. I love that kid's comics. I love his comics. I have every single one, so I'm definitely gonna pick that up. Nate Garcia, he started off his first published comic when he was 18, 19, and he sent them to me over, and I showed him off on my YouTube channel. He's awesome. So Nate, if he's doing a new comic, I definitely have to pick that up. I don't have any of his comics handy, or I'll show him off, but he's awesome. So, we're going to be doing CGN Live every week. We'll have some other things too. Like I know Max is from CGN. He's going to show off. He's going to have a library tour one day whenever he gets some time out of the warehouse to do that. His library looks amazing, by the way. He sent me some pictures of it just the other day, and it's a sight to behold. So look forward to that when it happens. And we'll probably do some. It's a whole experimental ground here that I'm going to form and do things with what I want on this channel. So I might do some overviews, maybe some YouTube shorts, maybe some what we're reading lives if I want to go live or whatnot. So yeah, stay tuned, subscribe, share this with all your friends, give this video a thumbs up. This is CGN Live. My name's Taylor. And over on social media, if you go to at Twitter and Instagram at CheapGN for Cheap Graphic Novels, be sure to like those platforms. And I'll be on there running the show over there, showing off the cool stuff that's coming out. And be sure to visit our website, cheapgraphicnovels.com, where the best place to get your comics and graphic novels, and you get them heavily discounted. And they'll be shipped out to you in beautiful packaging, and your books will be safe. And all that jazz. So thank you guys. It's been great. Catch you guys on the next one. Thank you.